AITA for walking out of an autistic person's birthday party. I, 15F, have no clue how birthdays work. My birthday has never been celebrated or even acknowledged my entire life, and I have never received a cake or birthday gift before. It is the same for all holidays as well. A couple days ago, my mom told my little brother, 9, and I that we were going to a dinner party of her past student for high school graduation. She teaches SPED. We said okay. Before we went to the party, my mom told us we had to pick up a cake first. It was a cake with his name on it and balloon frosting designs. When we got to the party, my mom said, "Happy birthday," and handed him the cake. I was really upset and wanted to cry, but I ignored it. And it was his 21st birthday. He had graduated high school years ago. I felt really upset the entire time, watching him blow out candles, being sang happy birthday, opening gifts. My brother whispered to me asking why we were at a birthday, when mom said we weren't allowed to do anything birthday related. I said, because nobody cares about us. He said, if you ever plan on running away from home, I want you to take me with you. I really wanted to cry in that moment, so I asked him if he wanted to take a moment, and we left the house and took a walk around the neighborhood. We came back when it was time to go home, and mom yelled at me during the car ride. She wanted me to take pictures of the party and her, but she couldn't find me and she said I humiliated her. I told her that as her children, we should take priority and that it's super hypocritical of her to be so against birthdays yet celebrate someone else's, and even buy them a birthday cake. She told me it's because he's autistic and needs to be happy. And I said, right. And we don't need to be happy, right? She told me I was being a spoiled brat. Am I the asshole for ditching? AITA for telling my sister that she's the reason her kids don't have a father. So I, 27F, have a sister, Melanie, 25F. She currently has 2 kids, Sam, 7M, and Avery, 4F, and is 14 weeks pregnant with baby number 3. The night Mel graduated high school, she convinced her BF at the time to celebrate without protection. She told me herself she did it on purpose, and my sister turned up at his parents' place 2 months later with a positive pregnancy test, saying how it's all gonna be okay and they can have a courthouse marriage now and then a real wedding after college. Because of course they won't have to worry much since his parents are financially comfortable and he's planning to get a degree in engineering. Needless to say, their relationship was over before the baby came. Our parents watched the baby so Mel could still attend college. She met a boy in one of her classes that was in pre-med, spent several months pursuing him until finally landing in a relationship with him, introduced him to the baby a few months in, learned he also wasn't interested in being a dad for a long time if ever, and still went off her BC and got pregnant a second time around. He tried to stay at first, but ended up getting accepted to a medical school across the country and basically left without another word. Now my sister is pregnant with an older man who is married who she's been having an affair with for the past year. She's claimed the entire time he's separated from his wife and getting divorced, but as soon as she told him she was pregnant he dumped her and went back to his wife. Honestly sounds to me like he wasn't really planning to leave her, and she said herself while ranting about it that she thought a baby would finally push him in the right direction. We were both in town and staying with our parents the other night, chilling in the living room, and my sister was complaining again about her past partners and how they're never there for their kids and that all men are irresponsible pests who just want to hit it and quit it when reality comes calling. She said she couldn't believe out of 3 men all of them were so immature and cruel. Genuinely sick of hearing her bullshit, I told her that the men aren't the problem, and the reason her kids don't have a father is because of her and her shitty choices. I told her maybe if she didn't try to force guys into the role, she'd find one who would actually love her and the kids and want to be an involved parent. She started crying and yelling at me and my parent had to take her out of the room. My mom told me it was probably better if I left, so I did, and both her and my father called me the next day to chastise me about how I handled the situation. I don't really think I was in the wrong here, but my sister is apparently still upset about it. Edit, I did not expect so much feedback so soon, wow. I don't even have time to read most of these because I've been busy all day, some impromptu work meetings plus prepping for a short trip, but I'll try and find some time to respond tonight or tomorrow. AITA for telling my stepdaughter that her birthday is cancelled. My husband has a 7-year-old daughter from his previous relationship. My husband and his ex had a bad breakup, since she was also in a relationship with someone else and thought that my stepdaughter was his. She broke things off with my husband. He and I were already in a relationship when he had to take a paternity test and found out he was her father. Her mom also has a problem with me, because she thought that my husband would get back together with her. Ex has 3 other kids with her partner, when she was pregnant with her 3rd one. My stepdaughter came to live with us because there was no room for her at her mom's house. At the time we had a lot going on, just bought a home and were in the middle of renovations. We stayed in the house, to save money. It wasn't a livable situation for a 4-year-old but decided to take her in anyway. We went through tough times with her during these 3 years and everything just became stable. Our home is finished and financially we are doing very well. I'm currently 5 months pregnant, and though it wasn't a planned pregnancy, my husband and I are happy about it. However, my stepdaughter is not very excited about a new sibling. She even asked my mom if we would send her away now that we were having a baby. Someone at her school told her that she might be sent away because we wouldn't care about her with a new baby in the house, and she's worried that everything will change again. My husband and I decided to throw a big birthday party for her to make her feel special. Everything has already been planned and paid for by my in-laws and parents. Her birthday is on the 22nd and her party is on the 25th. She had her weekend with her mom and usually, she gets dropped off at my in-laws' home, so I'm never in contact with the ex. This Sunday ex dropped her off at our home and yelled at me about the party. She said a bunch of horrible things about my family and that she would send people to disrupt the party if my family was there. My stepdaughter asked if her party would be cancelled because that's what her mother said. I told her honestly that we might have to cancel it because we want to make sure it is safe and fun for everyone. I told her we would still celebrate her birthday, no matter what. Now my husband is a bit upset that I told her. I just wanted to be honest with her in case we did have to cancel the party due to her mom's threats. Her mom has done this before and I just didn't want her to feel disappointed again. I of course didn't mean to upset her, I just think it's awful to lie to her and then we do end up having to cancel or the party does end up being disrupted. Ick. He told me he understood, but was still upset. My stepdaughter is still very distraught. I just didn't want her to feel disappointed. Am I the asshole, AITA, for telling my SIL she's the reason her kids are losers and don't get invited to anything? So I, 43F, have a son, 13M, who's in the 7th grade now. My husband's sister, my SIL, Kelly, 40SF, also has 2 twin boys, 12M. All 3 of our boys are in the same grade at the same school. My son is very kind and overall an extroverted kid who's involved in lots of extracurriculars, so he has been making lots of new friends and is getting invited to a lot of the other boys' events and whatnot. To put it bluntly, Kelly's sons are obnoxious and entitled. This is because of her behavior. She's absolutely obsessed with them and has no life outside of being a helicopter parent. For example, one of my nephews had a crush on a girl at school and when the girl's mom jokingly brought it up to Kelly, she freaked out saying the girl is kinda weird, so her son obviously wouldn't have a crush on a girl like that. Who bullies a 12-year-old girl or her mother? She has raised her boys to think they're above all the other kids and they definitely act that way, even towards my own son, their cousin. Naturally, her boys are not getting invited to much and a lot of the mom groups of the boys in their grade aren't including her. So she has just been inviting herself to events she hears of with the boys. Last week, there was a birthday party for a girl in our kiddos class that Kelly's sons weren't invited to, but she just dropped them off at birthday party and left without even checking in with the birthday girl's family. The girl's mom called me asking me to speak to Kelly BC. A lot of the moms are absolutely sick of her inviting herself and her boys to things. So when I talked to her, she immediately flipped the script calling me an enabler of the other moms' exclusion and bullying towards her and her boys. Basically accusing me of having an agenda to make her boys seem like losers for not being invited so that my son has more friends. I just told her that if her kids are losers, it's because she raised them to be entitled and mean and it reflects directly from how she treats the other mothers. Now my MIL is calling me saying I should be vouching for my nephews to join my son's friend group because family and all that BS. So am I the asshole? AITA for nuking my niece's social media accounts. So, a couple of weeks ago I, M35, had my sister, F39, and her family, including niece, F11, over for a barbecue. We had a pretty good time, with the exception of niece who was pretty much constantly on her phone recording TikToks. Slightly annoying but ultimately not my kid, not my problem. I've talked to my sister a while ago about being careful what niece is putting online, protecting her identity etc. My sister brushed it off, saying that niece was sensible enough not to do anything stupid. I figure I'd try and bridge the gap. So I asked niece what she's recording. It's a TikTok. You're old, you wouldn't get it. I work in tech, so it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I decide to let it slide and do some digging later. Turns out niece has used her full government name to register for TikTok, with links to her public Instagram with the same name, so I did what any reasonable person would do, reported everything for being under 13. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, everything I could find. With the nature of TikTok trends, some of the stuff on there was stuff that 11-year-olds probably shouldn't be doing, and definitely shouldn't be recording. Fast forward to today, Sister calls me and asks me if I can have a look at niece's iPad. Apparently she can't log into any of her accounts and she's having a meltdown about it. I talk her through it and it quickly becomes apparent that the accounts are blocked and asking for ID. I'm in two minds whether to tell her it was me that reported the account or just tell her to submit the ID knowing it'll get niece permabanned. So, am I the asshole for nuking my niece's social media?